Hello and welcome to Labor Lens. I am Sharon Ijason. On this week edition of the program, we'll be focusing on the life and times of late Comrade Ali Chiroma, who served as the former president of the Nigerian Labour Congress and deputy president of the Medical and Health Workers Union of Nigeria. The Medical and Health Workers Union of Nigeria held a day of tribute in honor of the late Comrade Ali Chiroma, who passed away on April 2nd, 2024, at the age of 91.
Solidarity forever. Solidarity, solidarity forever. Solidarity.
Comrade Ali Chiroma, OON MNI, was a renowned Nigerian trade unionist. He was elected deputy president of the Medical and Health Workers Union of Nigeria in 1978 and later became president of the Nigerian Labour Congress (NLC) from 1984 to 1988. His tenure coincided with a turbulent political era marked by the military takeover of December 1983. Chiroma's leadership was cut short in 1988 when the military government dissolved the NLC during the regime of General Ibrahim Babangida. He later served as sole administrator of Nupeng.
Leadership means sacrifice, and I want to begin with the sacrifice Alhaji Ali Chiroma made in order to make NLC today what it is today.
Where words fail me to describe the great Iroko we are celebrating today, permit me to recline on the words of Peter Green Ingersoll, who said, "A great man is a torch in the darkness, a beacon in superstition's night, an inspiration and a prophecy." Even those profound words did not bury little justice to the grand legacy and virtues left behind by Baba Ali Chiroma. At the very foundation of the Medical and Health Workers Union of Nigeria is blazoned the name of Comrade Ali Chiroma. This is a statement of fact and history. At the Kaduna Conference Center, the Medical and Health Workers Union of Nigeria elected its first national leadership. Comrade Ali Chiroma was elected the deputy president of our great union. He served under Comrade Aaron Akimbola, the first president of the Medical and Health Workers Union of Nigeria.
During his time as NLC president, Ali Chiroma stood firmly against anti-worker policies. He opposed proposed changes to the Minimum Wage Act, which sought to raise the threshold for businesses bound by the act from 50 employees to 500 employees. He also rejected the IMF loan conditions, protested the removal of fuel subsidy, and criticized several elements of the structural adjustment program introduced by the government.
At the age of 17, he was actually the national president of the Rural Health Workers Union of Nigeria. In 1960, he became the president. And all of us remember that during the restructuring of trade unions in 1978, through Decree 22 of 1978, 17 health unions were collapsed together to form the Medical and Health Workers Union of Nigeria, where he became the deputy president. It was also mentioned that he was the first Nigerian to be appointed the principal of the School of Health Technology from 1977 to 1982. After he left, they had to go and find somebody from Egypt, Dr. Nabil, to come and take over because of the standard he has put in place. That is the kind of person he was. It's recorded that no Nigerian was found worthy. It was an Egyptian, Dr. Nabil, that was brought in to take over from him.
We gathered today under the banner of solidarity, but also under the shadow of memory, the memory of a giant who walked among us, a soldier of the working class, whose boots may have quieted, but whose revolutionary echoes resound through the hills and in the heart of our struggle in Nigeria and throughout Africa. Comrade Ali Chiroma was not merely a leader, he was an organic intellectual of the proletarian struggle, forged in the furnace of shop floor unionism within this very union, the Medical and Health Workers Union of Nigeria. From this primary constituency of health workers, the lifeblood of our nation's well-being, he rose to lead the center. His journey exemplifies the very principle we hold dear, that true leadership is rooted in the trenches, born from the collective will of the rank and file.
In December 1987, Chiroma and other NLC leaders were detained as the military government intensified pressure on the Congress to withdraw its opposition to the SAP.
Really thankful to the Medical and Health Union, Health Workers Union, that's his constituency, and the NLC for this grand honor. So we have all been, as I said earlier, groomed, regimented into strictness, organization, prudence, and due diligence, which is a shoe that is too large to fit, really. And I wouldn't say we have done it with flying colors, but alhamdulillah, I think we live in this imperfect world and we try.
My opinion about labor has been changed completely. I can see the unity, solidarity of purpose. The song you are singing, solidarity, is completely 100% true. All these labor leaders we have been hearing about are here.
The Day of Tribute celebrated a man remembered not only for his courage and principled leadership during difficult times, but also for his unwavering commitment to justice and the Nigerian working class. Speakers at the event reflected on the current state of the labor movement, emphasizing the need for unity, ideological clarity, and a return to the core values that defined Chiroma's era of activism and service.
He was one of the founding fathers that amalgamated by then about 23 different unions under health to form Medical and Health Workers Union of Nigeria. I'm talking as far back as 1978. And he was the first deputy president of our union, arising from that amalgamation of the unions, which I assume was in Kaduna. And Ali Chiroma, I think, was the first person in the history or committee of labor unions to lead Congress, while at his individual union is the deputy national president. He was the first national president who was also deputy president of his affiliate union. I think there is nobody can do justice to the history of working class in Nigeria if you didn't mention the name of late Comrade Ali Chiroma. You will agree with me, history will do justice to Ali Chiroma, because they led the Congress during the military era. I could remember Ali Chiroma was arrested and detained by the military administrators more than 13 times. But Ali Chiroma has never, in a single day or minute, have an attitude of compromisation. He has never compromised when it's come to issue of working class. So I think the purpose of this tribute is to remind the younger ones, the new generation who are coming up, that history is a reality and history will continue to remember Ali Chiroma. Then for the current leaders, I think it's a challenge. If you do good, you will be remembered tomorrow.
Ali Chiroma has laid a very strong foundation for the working class workers or movement in this country and beyond. Our prayer is that we, the young ones that he has left behind, will continue to build on the building blocks he has raised from the foundation we know, laid by Hassan Somono, who he later succeeded to date.
The first thing I had noticed with Comrade Ali Chiroma was that he's a man that is always cool, calm, and collected. I've never seen him go angry with any situation, though I did not interact with him so much. But all the few meetings we have had with him, there was no way he will feel ridiculed or he will feel disgraced Whatever he do, whatever he say, he remains calm. And he remained calm. And I think that was a very, very good tribute to a person, especially somebody who was leading a very agitated minds, like workers. And Comrade Ali Chiroma was also a man of very, very few words. But his words were always full of wisdom. That is something I learned from him. It is not about ranting all the time. He will listen and he will watch, but when it comes to him to talk, he will render few words. But whoever you are, you will go back learning a lot of things from the words he must have spoken.
On the Profile Interview segment this week, I'll be speaking with the former president of the Nigerian Labour Congress, Comrade Ayuba Waba, who also doubled up at one time as the president of the International Trade Union Confederation. He shares with me some of the time he had with late Ali Chiroma, his leadership style, lessons to be learned by upcoming trade unionists, and also the need for workers to upskill and reskill in the ever-changing world of work. After serving for so many years, you are relaxed, more relaxed and more energetic. Can you tell us what the secret is first before we move on?
Well, the secret that at retirement you have more time to yourself, because after serving the trade union movement at different leadership level for up to 35 years and relinquishing those positions in good health, somebody should be able to organize himself and have some rest, have some reflection, and also continue to do some mentoring. So that's what I do now, and I think I have a lot of time to myself.
Talking about mentorship, just recently the union which you represented for so many years, the Medical and Health Workers Union of Nigeria, honored one of its own who is now late. Can you tell us what was the relationship between you and Comrade Ali Chiroma?
Well, Ali Chiroma is an icon in the labor movement, having served the NLC very diligently. He was the second president of the Nigerian Labour Congress. After Hassan Somono, he was the second president, and he served at a period when there was a lot of turbulence, but he was able to manage it very well, very successfully. He was able to galvanize the civil society organization. He was able to galvanize the student union movement, and the NLC was very, very united in confronting those challenges and ills that affect the working class. So it is in this respect that his primary union, the Medical and Health Workers Union, thought it wise to have a day of tribute where we can be able to use the platform to echo his contribution to national development, and also use the platform to advance some of those very strong issues that we think leadership should have, some of those ingredients that made him quite different from other leaders. And it has been a very successful event. My relationship with Ali Chiroma dates back to the 80s because the school I attended, he was the principal from 1977 to 1982. And thereafter, I was the president of the student union government. That's how the relationship started, even after he left. And I was under his tutelage in all my trade union life and history. He has been there to give me all the necessary advice and also to put me through. Importantly is also the fact that he is willing actually to mentor some of us, especially when he finds out that you are committed and you have what it takes to be a good leader. So from those periods of late 80s up to the time he was called to glory, I've been very, very close to him. In fact, I can say with all sense of responsibility that he has been like a godfather to me, and he has mentored me very, very well. And most of the leadership challenges I've had, I've tried to share it with him. He said there is nothing new under the sun, that he has passed through higher challenges, more complicated challenges than we are passing through, and he has always been a very strong pillar of support in my leadership journey, and he's one special person that never get discouraged. However big the issue is, however big the problem is, he will tell you there is a solution. And basically, if you listen to him carefully, his words of wisdom, in the mix of the challenge and confusion, you will certainly have a solution. And that is how I've related with him all those years. He's somebody that have served the trade union movement and the working class for close to 7 decades, and therefore is somebody that cannot be taken for granted. At the international level, I know also that he played a lot of role, because even at the ILO, he was actually a 2-term member of the governing body of the ILO. Even after he have served out his term as NLC President, the International Committee still found him very worthy to continue in his role as the governing body member of ILO, and he led a lot of missions to many countries. And that is actually the position I actually found myself doing, because I remember one of the prayers he made for me is the fact that where he stopped, I will continue, and I will even reach higher heights. And I've seen that in my little life, that that prayer actually I've partake of it to a larger extent, because he stopped as a first-termer in NLC. I was able to complete his term. Not only that, I continue his term at the ILC, that is the International Labour Conference, and the governing body of the ILO. And to cap it all, I became the first African to be elected president of the International Trade Union Confederation.
Which I was part of that journey as well.
Yes.
So I would like to ask you, having served as the global president of ITUC, and talking about mentorship, what role do you think the elders of trade unionism, of the trade industry, what role do you think they can play in the lives of those that are coming up towards enhancing industrial relations and best work and place practice?
Industrial relations globally is regulated by international labor standards in form of conventions, in form of protocols. And you know, those conventions and protocols are actually adopted yearly at the International Labour Conference, where countries come in delegation of workers' delegation, employers' delegation, and government delegation. And those things are put into vote. And once a convention is ratified, it means that it has a force of law in the country. And for Nigeria, we have ratified almost all the core conventions. And those conventions should actually guide our action and inaction, both government, employers, and workers. Those conventions are very, very important because they are fundamental rights of workers and employers. For instance, Convention 98, which talks about freedom of association and the right to organize of both workers and employers. 87, which talks about the right to collective bargaining, that head cannot be shaved in his absence. You need to discuss. And that's how the issue of collective bargaining comes in. So all of this, social protection, we have conventions on that. So those laws are fundamental globally, and therefore every country must respect them. And therefore what we do is to mentor our upcoming trade union leaders to be on top of those key provisions that they can use to defend workers' rights, because to have the necessary tools and knowledge to defend workers' rights is one of the key responsibility that a trade union needs to prepare himself for. So basically mentorship, what we do now is to make sure that we're able to teach them all these rudiments and also their rights and their privileges. And importantly also is how to organize, because organizing is one of the main functions of a trade union. How do you organize your members? How do you educate them? How do you mobilize them? All of these ingredients or attributes that a good trade union leader must have. And this is what the likes of Somonu, the like of Chiroma have taught us. They were also taught by the likes of Wahab Goodluck, Pa Michael Imodu. It has been passed from generation to generation. And therefore, trade unions, leaders that know their onions, must prepare for any leadership role that they will play in their trade unions, and also to continue to protect workers' rights. So this is one of the things.
Talking about organizing, we are at that time, not just in Nigeria, but in the world, whereby we have employers of labor not wanting workers to unionize. We know the implication of this. I would like you to reiterate what the implication of this is vis-a-vis the changing world of work. Because as it is, we're getting to that time whereby we may not even have the required numbers of people in some certain unions because of the trend of work.
Yeah, the right of every worker in the workplace to join a union of his choice is a fundamental right backed by Convention 98. In fact, Nigeria ratified this convention as far back as 17th of October 1960 under a democratic government. And that's why it's part of our Constitution, Section 40, which said that the worker has a right to join a trade union of his choice. A person has a right to join a political party of his choice. A person has a right also to practice the religion of his choice. All of these are enshrined in Section 40 of the Constitution, and it's a fundamental right. So no employer has the right to deny a worker this right anywhere in the world. Doing this is actually infringing on the fundamental right of the worker. It's not a Nigerian law, it's a fundamental human right or workers' right globally, supported by a provision of the ILO status, which was adopted as far back as 1948. So basically, workers must continue to assert that right, exercise it, because no court of law can even stop you from exercising this right. And any law that is against this provision is actually a law that is against workers' fundamental rights. So no employer should actually contemplate all of this. They have tried in the past, they are still trying, but workers must continue to resist the attempt of some bad employers, not all. I can say they are bad employers because the law is very explicit and everybody knows about the law. Yes, there have been a lot of changes in the world of work brought about by the Fourth Industrial Revolution, brought about by technology, by automation, and therefore even the traditional employer-employee relationship is actually being reduced. There are many workers working remotely. They don't even know their employer, but they are being paid, and they don't have the traditional employer-employee relationship. And this is why the ILO is coming up with the new social contract. New social contract means that, yes, there are changes in the world of work, but those changes cannot erode fundamental workers' rights. That those fundamental rights must continue to exist, even in the mix of the transformation that is going on. And I think ILO have come up with a lot of transformative ideas, and together with employers globally and government, those transformative ideas are being adopted, they are being implemented, and basically the transformation comes with its advantage and disadvantage. Yeah, there will be job losses in some areas, because that's why the issue of skilling and reskilling of workers will be a major issue, because what will drive workers in this new era is actually acquiring new skills. And that's why the ILO have emphasized the issue of skilling and reskilling. They need new training. There are many jobs there online. If you Google, there are many jobs. But the workers need new skills to actually fit into those new work. Because technology alone cannot actually do the entire work of human beings. You must be able to have space for human beings.
Do you fear that this new set of work would not allow workers to associate, would not allow workers to even bargain for a better or decent wage?
Yeah, to some extent, but I don't think it will actually prevent workers from doing so. And that's why the instruments of the ILO are being reformed, upgraded, taking into cognizance the new challenge in the world of work. So basically, I'm not sure that it will eliminate totally, because human beings are very central in employment relation, and that's why we must find space to be able to take on board some of these new challenges and some of the issues that are coming up, even in the tech industries, because I remember some few years ago when I was the president of ITUC, I've received reports, even workers from the tech industry trying to now belong to union, the Googles of this world, the Amazons of this world. Yeah, there was a time workers of those industry, they are well paid, but they still said no, they want to belong to a union. They want to exercise this freedom of association, that they want to have a union where they can also continue to relate with their employers. That will add to productivity. That will give them a sense of belonging. That will also ensure that they conform with international labor standard. So those things are ongoing. And I remember even in the preparation to the World Cup that took place in Qatar, one of the major issues that ITUC and ILO took on board is the issue of workers' rights. The kafala system was reviewed in Qatar. I remember that I was in Qatar on two occasions on a mission to try to look at the issue and then take on board workers' rights. And I'm happy that Qatar had been able to transform its labor landscape to now accommodate the new thinking and respecting fundamental workers' rights. The same thing is now happening in Saudi, because Saudi also is in the now under the touchlight, because they will be hosting the World Cup. And I also saw recently Saudi have abolished the kafala system, where there is this issue of outsourcing of services like slavery, modern day slavery. So they have actually abolished kafala system. This is to tell you that the system, the world is dynamic. Changes are bound to happen, and challenges are bound also to occur. And once there are challenges, there will be a new thinking to try to take on board those challenges, especially if it affects workers, because workers are not slaves. They work to earn a living, and therefore you must put that into consideration. Machines cannot totally take away the work of workers. Take, for instance, nursing. How do you say machine should take over the work of a nurse, or different, even teaching? Yeah, the teachers' place in this whole transformation is still very, very important, and so is many workers. Yeah, technology will try to bring improvement, bring some level of dynamism, but I think in the whole, it cannot take away entirely the function of human being.
Thank you very much for your time. I'm sure there will be other times I would have to catch up with you to tap from your knowledge, wealth of knowledge, and also maybe be a mentee.
Thank you very much for this wonderful privilege.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
And that's all we can take on today's edition of the program. Join us next week for a fresh edition of the show. I am Sharon Ijason. Thanks for watching, and remember that labor creates wealth.